couple of weeks ago, I changed my job title on LinkedIn from solution architect to culture architect. And at the same time, some friends of mine did the same. And then I made a search on LinkedIn to see how many people on LinkedIn have this title, and I found like 40 or 50 entries. And as soon as I changed my job title, I started getting emails from my contacts on LinkedIn asking, what the hell is a culture architect? Or, cool, what exactly do you do as a culture architect? And so on. And the idea of culture architect comes from my friend Jim McCarthy and his idea that we can hack the culture in a team or in an organization in order to achieve most successful results. But the point is, when I did the change, I started thinking about the word culture, what culture is. And the idea behind culture architect is that, I take here a definition proposed by Gertz in 1973. You can look at him on Wikipedia. And there are a lot of definitions of culture, but this one is like very used by anthropologists, for example, and also by personality psychologists and so on. And the definition is like this: culture is a configuration of control mechanisms, plans, recipes, rules and instruction to regulate a behavior. So basically, when we say culture, we are talking about a set of mechanisms that controls behavior. Meaning controls behavior in the sense that you orientate the behavior, you align the behavior to goals, you support individuals behaving in some way. So if culture is this, the idea of hacking so the idea of making it better, or by programmatically start to think about how can I create a better culture for this team, or how can I create a better culture for this organization, start making sense. It's not just a vaporware like. And as the same way architects thinks of and design and plan environments for people to live in, we can also be able to create a culture where teams can thrive, teams can constantly achieve successful results. So the idea behind hacking culture and the idea behind being a culture architect is that you can plan, design, and implement cultural changes that work better in order for an organization to achieve what its goal. About culture, we can also talk about the fact that culture is kind of a device that can model personality, because modeling behavior in a sense is also modeling what a person, a team member is. So it can be very powerful, and also it works on the other way. I mean, you can change culture in order to improve behaviors, but you can also do the other way. You can implement purposefully behaviors that change culture. And this is easy to do. I mean, in terms of when you know what to do, what kind of behavior, and I mean, this is always done in the organization. Last week there was in the New York Times an article about the Amazon.com culture, and it was not very pleasant about that culture, and was very harsh about that kind of culture. Not, but that's not the point. You can read the article if you want to see the point. But the point is, a culture is something that influences and creates behavior. So you can have cultures that orient you towards goals and culture that orient you towards not reaching goals, culture that can improve the wellness of people inside the organization, and culture that can make very hard to stay in an organization. So culture is kind of a multi-purpose device. How do you change it? How do you hack it? You hack it changing behaviors or changing ideas that sustain behaviors. You can do both ways. If you take ideas about you want to change, for example, the very common idea in an organization that emotions are not useful, as often dysfunctional in teams, and you want to change it in an idea that says emotions are the most important thing in a team in terms of information and orientation and alignment to the team vision, what you can do is implement some behavior who favorite that kind of culture. For example, you can implement and favorite a behavior that allows and permit full emotional disclosure among team members. If you implement that behavior, your culture will become much more emotionally aware, and this will result in more energy and more alignment potential towards a goal, and so on. You can read much in details about this in a very great book, which is Software for Your Head by Jim and Michelle McCarthy. But what I'm interested in talking about now and is a device that you can use to create and influence behavior. So anytime you can implement new behavior, you modify the culture, and vice versa. One way to change a culture is implement protocols. Protocols are exactly the same thing as culture, so because they are a set of rules, recipes if you want, designed to change, to shape behavior in individuals and teams. So if you want to change culture, you need to change behavior and vice versa.